Go ahead.
So I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about OCT and glaucoma and for your kind words. Now, glaucoma, as we all know, is a triad of high intraocular pressure, optic nerve cupping, as well as visual field changes. But we know that there can be a wide variation in these, and often the cupping changes will precede the visual field loss by about 5 years. Visual fields can often not be always reliable or reproducible, and there are also fluctuations and errors in how the patients perform them. So we have OCT, which helps us to diagnose and follow up pre-perimetric glaucoma, helps to confirm whether the visual field defect is real or an artifact, and helps to monitor progression. Now, this is the standard RNFL analysis that we are all familiar with. We know the color coding. We know that there is a circumpapillary scan which is being used, and it is giving us the sectoral as well as the quadrantic distribution, with red indicating significance less than 1% of the normative database being red and yellow being less than 5%. We are also able to evaluate the optic nerve head, which the OCT outlines the optic nerve head and the cup and disc borders and gives us all these parameters that we can evaluate. And the third thing the OCT tells us for glaucoma is the ganglion cell complex, which consists of the NFL, the ganglion cell layer, and the inner plexiform layer. So this is how the GCC analysis appears as a deviation map, the blue indicating about 20 to 30% damage and the black indicating more than 50% loss. And the significance map is what we look at. And we find that the ganglion cell layer damage correlates even more with the visual fields and occurs much earlier even than the RNFL thinning. So in a normal patient, this is how the GCC will appear. In patients where the visual field effects have not yet started, but there is early disease, there will be areas of ganglion cell thinning. And then of course, in severe functional loss, we find that the GCC loss has increased significantly. Now, normally the GCC as well as the RNFL changes will correspond, but you should be cautious in patients with macular edema and also in patients with ERMs, because there is where you may get a higher GCC thickness. However, remember that macular changes will occur even before the RNFL changes, and in this, the focal loss is more significant than the global loss, which may occur as part of myopia or an increased axial length or even as part of aging. Now we can also see the progression. So you see this is the progression map where the earliest OCT shows a normal RNFL and this is gradually progressing. Whereas in the GCC analysis, you see here the RNFL hasn't yet shown any deficit, but the GCC has already given it to us, and of course a progression. By the last stage, we really do not need a OCT to help us, where we can use the visual fields. So glaucoma progression is the next thing that OCT helps us with a widening, deepening, or a new RNFL defect appearing as a sign of progression. And it is best when combined with the GCC. And after 40 to 50 microns, the defect really floors off. And at this point, the visual fields are a better scenario. Now, we are going to focus mainly on clinical situations. So let us begin with the first slide here. A proper centration of the map is very important. So if you have a properly centered scan, you will find the good double hump pattern. But if we have an inferiorly decentered scan, then we'll have inferior RNFL loss, which is erroneous. And similarly, if it is superiorly decentered, we'll have a superior loss. So here is a scan which appears as an area of increased RNFL loss, but here the location is not appropriate. And once you've done the RNFL scan again, we find that this is actually a normal RNFL thickness. Yet another example where I want to show you how the signal strength gives us an idea. You see this scan showed a lot of RNFL thinning, but look at the signal strength here is only 1 as compared to when we repeated the scan with a higher signal strength. And even for the left eye, the RNFL thickness definitely improved. So definitely look at the location and the quality of the scan before you confirm your findings. I'm going to show you here a few other clinical cases. This is a patient with 0.7 thinning in the cupping in the right eye and 0.6 in the left eye. And the IOP was elevated in the right eye. The corneal thickness was on the thinner side. We found that there was an inferior field defect. So this is the first indication we talked about, where an OCT will help us to confirm whether this visual field defect is really glaucomatous. And we repeated this and we found that the OCT has confirmed the diagnosis. The inferior field effect is indeed corresponding to the superior RNFL thinning. And this patient was started in the for treatment in the right eye, and the left eye was monitored. The second patient, we find advanced cupping in the left eye, 0.7 in the right eye, elevated pressures, thin corneas, advanced field loss. This patient, this patient presented late, so the OCT helped us to confirm the diagnosis. But the point for this example is that when you have such severe thinning, then you really do not need an OCT to follow it up. You just need to treat the patient with progressive visual fields, and of course treat this particular patient very aggressively. The left eye was taken up for surgery. Now this is the next slide, 0.6 cupping in the right eye at 0.4 in the left eye. We assumed that this was more physiological, but we had a field effect. And this is again an important indication for an OCT, where it helps us to confirm whether this field effect is an artifact or a learning curve error. So once the OCT was almost normal, we decided not yet to treat this patient, but to keep him on follow-up and just to repeat that visual field by about 3 to 4 months. Another example, a lady with cupping 6.6 in both the eyes, pressures and CCT were in the normal range. Now remember, OCT is not completely foolproof. So here, even though the fields were normal, surprise, surprise, the OCT was abnormal. So we went back to check what our findings showed, and we found that even alone, the OCT can be erroneous also. So do not make a diagnosis purely on OCT. You will have to go back and recheck our findings. Another example of cupping where we thought this could be physiological. The fields were okay. And however, this patient had a temporal thinning, and this patient, so we did not tell her she was completely okay. We said, you just have early loss. Since the pressures are right now okay, we will monitor you for risk factors, but we would still keep her on follow-up. So you have this whole gamut of scenarios that can happen, and OCT has to be done keeping our clinical findings as well as the other tests in mind. So there are artifacts, red disease, as we just saw. We could identify high myopes as mistakenly abnormal. Green disease, where focal areas when thinned are average, and you could be missing out areas of focal loss. Signal quality we've covered, depends on the machine. So for the OptiView, a signal strength of more than 40 is better. For the Cirrus, more than 6 is acceptable. The ring being concentric with the disc is important, and often with cataract, we might get thinner RNFL, so it's a good idea to repeat the scans after the cataract surgery is done. Before I finish, a quick word about anterior segment OCT. The landmark that is important is the scaval spur, and it is usually done for patients with angle closure glaucoma who have a shallow AC depth and a shorter axial length. I don't have much time, I'll go through this quickly. These are the parameters we look at. You can actually visualize a closed angle right up to the Schwalbe's line, a membrane which was persisting after a YAG laser, and this was then realized in a second sitting. This is important. You see, a gonioscopy, because of the focal light that we throw, often narrows the pupil and opens up an angle which was potentially occludable or narrow in scotopic conditions. So here we can visualize in both in scotopic as well as photopic areas where the angle is actually falsely appearing as open. Another word about OCT angiography for glaucoma. We know that glaucoma affects the vessel density in the peripapillary and the macular area. So this is an additional advantage that we have with the OCT angio. The vessel density loss acts as an additional marker even before the visual field loss. And the vessel density loss, they will then correlate with the visual field loss in subsequent time periods. So it can also be used to monitor progression. Some examples here. So this is a normal peripapillary OCT angiography. And you see in moderate areas, we're seeing areas of loss and microvascular dropout. And this is for the macular area. You can see that in subsequent scans, these darker areas are increasing. Also, you can use it to compare the two eyes. So this patient had a normal right eye and an eye which had early glaucoma, but when we repeated the scan after 1 year, the areas of microvascular dropout were even more. Just the last slide, sir. So OCT angiography has increased our evaluation potential with the OCT, and widen the spectrum both for the pre-perimetric as well as for the later glaucomas. In fact, it reaches a floor effect at a more advanced disease stage than purely the RNFL and GCC. So it is a useful modality for glaucoma diagnosis. However, remember to evaluate the scan data and not just the color codes. It is a good idea to repeat an OCT if you are taking a treatment decision based purely on OCT. But remember, an OCT cannot detect disc pallor or disc hemorrhages, so still needs a clinical exam for confirmation of glaucoma. So the triad that I began with my presentation, the eye pressure, the optic nerve cupping, and the visual field, has OCT as a very essential tool, a fourth dimension to glaucoma diagnosis. And in recent times, we find that OCT is not only giving us information via the RNFL and the ONH and the GCC, but that the anterior segment OCT as well as OCT angiography has really increased the role of OCT for glaucoma. So I see an enhanced role of OCT for glaucoma in the coming years. Thank you.